SMV Fitness. Strengthening people.
For more videos and updates about fitness, subscribe our channel and press the bell icon. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
In this video, I am going to talk about everything you need to know about the deadlifts. First, we need to understand what pattern of movement is happening in the deadlift. It is a hip hinge pattern. Alright, the hip hinge pattern. The flexion and extension happening at the hip joint. Understood? Second thing, it is not just a uni-joint movement, it is a multi-joint movement. So, knee is also involved. Always consider the tibial tuberosity. The bony structure exactly beneath the patella is very crucial to understand the geometry and the range of motion while performing this movement pattern. Okay? Primary function or primary movement which should happen in any deadlift pattern is the hip extension. Hip extension is the primary pattern which should happen. Okay? Which should be emphasized technically. Alright? Yeah. Now, there are again the variations like the sumo deadlift or the hybrid deadlift, okay, or the conventional variation or the RDL or the single leg RDL, whatever. Most important part is to understand the primary movement. That is the hip extension. Understood? Second thing, we'll first learn the RDL variation. So, find out your tibial tuberosity. Find out your tibial tuberosity. Can you touch the tibial tuberosity?
Yeah, I can touch.
Superb. Now, this is going to be the determinant of your range of motion. Okay, if you observe the side view, my side view, your arms are going to be perpendicular to the ground. Okay? Perpendicular. I am saying perpendicular. If you observe my side view, from the shoulder to the wrist, my arm is perpendicular to the ground. Is it?
Yeah.
Superb. Next thing is how much I am engaging the hips. I'll show it with the bar. So as my barbell reaches below the tibial tuberosity, I should squat down and squat up. As the bar reaches to the tibial tuberosity, I should extend the hips. Alright, this is about the conventional variation of the deadlift. Understood?
Yeah.
There are three muscle groups which are actually engaging. Deadlift also is pretty much a whole body thing, a complete body thing. First is the extension of the shoulder, okay, to maintain the bar position closest to your axis. So first you should focus on the lat activation. Okay? Depress the scapula. Activate your lats. Okay? So this is going to be the first isometric movement.
And the back should be.
That's what I'm saying. The lower back also works harder to maintain the neutral curvature of the spine. But no hyperextension or the flexion of the lumbar spine is happening technically. That indicates the lats depressors of the scapula, that is pectoralis minor, latissimus dorsi, and the erector spinae, the lower back muscles, are working isometrically. Isotonic movement, ज्याच्यामध्ये muscle lengthening and shortening is happening only at the hip extensors, mainly at the gluteus maximus and the hamstrings. Alright? Take an example of a elbow flexion, dumbbell curl. Length of the muscle is being changed. In this movement, lats are working isometrically, lower back is working isometrically because they are stabilizing the trajectory of the movement. Line of action. Understood? So, I'll give you an example. In a movie, there is a fight scene. Alright? There are three villains and one hero. There are two of the villains are holding the hero. Okay, like this. One is holding from this side, one is holding from that side. And the third is hitting the hero hard. The first who is holding is your lats. The second villain who is holding the hero is your lower back. And the third who is hitting is your hip extensor group, the hamstrings and the gluteus maximus. This will, help you to understand easily what is actually happening. As you get to the bar, first thing you do is depress the scapula, activate the lats. Okay, this is how you activate the lats. Second is your lower back should be in contraction, not straight. There is difference between straight and neutral curvature. Your neck and your lower back have this kind of a curve that is called a lordotic curve. And your upper back, okay, the thoracic region has the kyphotic curve. It is also called as the primary curve. Why? Because in the womb of the mother, the baby is like this always. As the baby starts getting pronated, the lower back arch starts getting developed. That is why it is called a secondary curve. The primary curve and the secondary curve. Okay, the lordotic curve, the kyphotic curve, and again the lordotic curve. So spine is somewhat like this. Understood? No, straight is not possible at the spine. Please understand. All right. Get to the bar. Pull your bar closer to your body. Depress the scapula. Activate the lats. And then understand the geometry. This is one line of the triangle. This is another line of the triangle. And this is the third line of the triangle. Okay. And then extend your hips. Not advisable. Okay, as you lower the bar, as the bar reaches below the tibial tuberosity, start squatting down. Okay, the lower half of the conventional deadlift is always squatting down and up, and the upper half is always the RDL. This is RDL, Romanian deadlift. But as the bar reaches below the tibial tuberosity, it is mandatory or it is necessary to bend through the knees. Why? If I continue going down here without bending my knee, there is a limit of my spine to remain in the neutral curvature. My spine will start rounding. Just in order to avoid that, I have to use my knee joint. Hope this helps. So first half of the conventional deadlift is always going to be the RDL, and the second half is always going to be the squat. You want to try? Go ahead. Better. Just move a little slower. A good cue can be, let your chest fall forward. Whenever you're doing, let your chest fall forward. And then use the squatting movement at the end of the movement, the lower half. Now see, just maintain the posture. Your shoulder is in front of the bar. Okay? And your lower back is rounding already. Much better. Activate your lats. Superb. And then pull. Now there is a slight demarcation line between a squat and a deadlift. If your spine is parallel to the tibia, it is a squat. And if your spine is not parallel to tibia, there is a greater angle at the knee and shorter angle at the hip. That becomes a hinge pattern like this. Now understand this geometry. This is always a hinge and this is a squat. Hope this helps. Now try doing it one more time.
Legs.
Yes, can be a little shorter. Always place your feet exactly beneath your hip for the conventional or RDL variations.
And the hands.
Hands, you can either grip it pronated or alternate grip can be used. Activate your lats. Depress your scapula. Superb. Now focus on the hip hinge. Much better. Now, the viewers can tell us if it is a squat or a hinge. Do it one more time and we'll check if it is a squat or a hinge. As I said, let your chest fall forward, not downward. Let your chest fall forward towards that mirror. Superb. It is still a squat. It is still a knee dominant thing. You can engage your hips more by letting your chest fall forward. You will involve your hamstrings and glutes more. Just make sure you are contracting the lower back isometrically when you bend forward. Yes. Now while going down, imagine if your chest is falling forward. First, bend your knees 5%. Just bend your knees 5% and then let your chest fall forward like this. Is it engaging more of your glutes and hams? Super, but you are rounding with your spine. Take it down. This simply indicates the weakness in your lower back muscles. Your lower back muscles are not coping up with the multi-joint movement when they are engaged in the movement. So this indicates you to practice a little of hyperextensions individually. Okay? Incorporate the hyperextension exercises in your training regimen. So now, just to improve the deadlift, there can be several hip extension practices like a bridge lift exercise. This is an awesome exercise which can improve your deadlift. This focuses more on the gluteal part. The long lever bridge lift will focus more on the hams. If your hamstrings are weaker, you can practice this movement just to improve your deadlift. Okay? Longer you go, more will your hamstrings engage. All right? For gluteal muscle group, this exercise will help you to get better. For hams, you can do the long lever bridge lift like this. All right? And for the lower back, what you can do is practice some hyper extensions like this. Slow and controlled movement. All right? There is another practice called straight arm pull down to learn how to engage your lats while performing a hinge movement. I'll quickly show you. Can I get a band or something? We'll do it with a cable. Thoda ikde ye. So we have the cable here. How I can improve my deadlifting? Engage the lats this way and practice the deadlift pattern. Okay? Depress your scapula, activate your lats. Just go down, satisfy the geometry of the hinge. Thoda ikde saraktos. Okay? This is the hinge geometry. And slowly come up. The weight on the stack will pull this handle diagonally upward. And opposing that will help you to learn engaging your lats while performing the hinge pattern. So this becomes a perfect posture and the pattern. Get rid of the weaknesses before you start actually lifting heavier weights. अजून काही प्रश्न आहेत? Concept clear झाली आहे? Or you think I need to talk more on any of the point? Feet placement. तिकडे जाऊ आता. Feet placement मी सांगतो. थोडंसं मागे जा. About the feet placement, ideally feet should be placed exactly beneath your hips, little turned outward, a tripod stance. Okay, hand should be located just outside of the thigh, here or outside of the knee. This is going to be the front view. This is how it should look like. And then up. Anything else? Now I'll talk about the sumo variation. The sumo variation, adductors are also involved to lift the weight up. Okay? But again, the spine has to be neutral, lats should be engaged, scapula should be depressed. These things will remain the same. The only thing which will change is the involvement of adductors will be a little more. in the sumo variation. All right. Also the VMO, the vastus medialis obliquus muscle. This will also involve at a greater percentage.
And the hand placement at sumo.
Hand grip you're asking. Grip should be alternated grip, can be a pronated grip,
Depend on the person.
as per your comfort. Next can be a single leg RDL thing. This again should be focused more on the hip extension. Okay. It can simply be practiced like, if not possible to hang one of the legs, if it is causing some trouble in balancing, what you can do is just simply rest the toe of the rear leg on the ground and just perform the hinge with this leg. So it will work more on the supported foot, or it will work more on the right foot, not foot. Foot is not the correct word. We can say we can work
You can go down by the
one leg individually, single leg individually.
down by dominant foot or
Dominant foot or under dominant or underdeveloped foot also. So this unilateral practice will help us to overcome the imbalances which were developed over the period of time with the wrong strength training methods. Okay, you can simply do this. Next progression to it can be lift the leg off the ground and perform the same. But if you do this, your knee will wobble. So there will be a challenge for balance. So make sure you practice and master the previous variation or previous level in order to progress. If you find you're not coping up with the practice level, regress it. If you are having problem with this, regress it. Touch the foot on the ground and then practice. Anything else you guys want to know? I hope this helps. Hinge and squat are one of the 7 primal patterns which a human body can perform, and it is very important pattern to be trained by every human on the planet. All right, so keep learning things which are scientific, keep strengthening your body, and stay strong. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. Do not forget to like, share, and ask for a suggestion or a question in a comment below if any. SMV Fitness. Strengthening people.